One night in my late 20s, I arrived home in the wee hours of the morning after a roaring night out. Well, my cat at the time was a desperate escape artist and disloyal twerp who kept trying to leave me for my neighbor. Well, as I walked in the door, he made a mad dash for freedom, and I turned to grab him. I ran full tilt into the metal door frame, ripping open the skin above my eye, hence this sexy scar. Well, that's how I went from the sweet prospect of sleep to the cold reality of a hospital bed at 3 a.m, which just goes to show that on the other end of our 24-hour emergencies are frontline heroes who work around the clock to take care of us. Well, the unique challenge of working as a nurse is therefore having to wake up and go to work when everyone else is getting ready for bed. Going from a 9 to 5 to a 5 to 9 is anything but a seamless transition. So we sought the advice of Emma Smith, a registered nurse and clinical nurse specialist, on how to survive late night shifts. Emma has spent the last decade working in one of Victoria's largest trauma centres in Australia and is so accustomed to working crazy hours that she and her partner, Dan, created a website called The Other Shift that helps nurses do the same. So with that said, here's Emma's advice on how to handle those long hours and late night shifts. Okay, Emma, what sucks the most about working the night shift?
For me, it's feeling 80%. Sort of blur feeling, regardless of how well I've eaten, how much sleep I've had, how much social interaction I've had. You just sort of never feel 100% like yourself. That's sort of probably my biggest thing that sucks. But personally for me, once I'm there, it doesn't really suck that much at all. Right. I feel like it's the process of getting to night shift is the bit that sucks the most. And then when you actually get there, you realize like, oh, this is fine. Yeah. Like you're inside a hospital, there's no windows anyway. You sort of, there's no reminder that it's night shift really. It's right. Our ratios don't change at night either. So it's like, it's equal business. The amount of volume doesn't change. Well, I know that's for us, other nurses in the ward, they talk about skeleton staff and things like that. But for us, I guess I don't feel that. So when I get there, it's sort of like, okay, it's fine. So the bit that sucks for me is it's before I get there.
Yeah. Okay, so what are some of the surprising consequences or side effects of working late shifts?
The first thing that probably comes to mind with this is a positive one from a social perspective is when I get to work, you have conversations with people and you make friends with people who you probably wouldn't normally hang out with socially. They're not, people say your people, but they're like, they're not someone that I'd probably contact outside of work, but you have these incredible relationships with people at work and you have a laugh and you joke with people. So socially, that's probably one of the good things. Yeah. But then socially, from a not so good perspective, is you are on opposite schedules for people, particularly those that aren't nurses. I'm in the fortunate position that I'm friends with a lot of nurses who often work night shift as well. So we sort of understand each other's schedules. So if someone drops off the face of the planet for a couple of days, it's sort of like, oh, they must be on nights. So when they do eventually come back to us, it's like, oh, sorry, I was on nights. Like, what's happened? And then catch them up. So that bit's difficult. But I know for some mums who work nights, it's a really good thing to work night shift because they get to take their kids to school. So they might work the night, take their kids to school, sleep in the middle of the day, and then, maybe their kid goes into after school care until maybe 4:00 and then they get to pick them up. So I think socially for some people that works really well if you've got kids, or their partners can pick up the kids and, they have a nice little interchange relationship on how they manage that. Yeah. Emotionally, I feel like my husband sometimes has to walk on eggshells a little bit because I'm a little bit fiery, a little bit emotional. I try not to make big decisions when I'm on night shift. That stuff can be left to the end. And I think that's purely from a sleep deprivation perspective. Yeah. I feel like on nights I sleep really well during the day, but it's like it never feels like it's enough. Yeah. So emotionally, I think I understand myself that I know I am going to be probably a little bit tense. So I do things like I try to keep up exercise that just brings me back down to normal a little bit. So like, I guess from an exercise perspective, it is it's difficult to motivate yourself constantly to keep going, but there's some things that I do, like I put my active wear at my door in my bedroom. So the first thing I do when I open my eyes is I look at that and I'm already like, oh shit, like I've had to exercise. But I can't step over it. I'm not allowed to step over it, even if it's like walking around the block or skipping in my backyard or streaming yoga. I've got a Chromecast, so I stream that to the TV. I have to do something. I find if I don't, my sleep significantly impacted, and I'm not a great nurse when I get there. I'm not ready to go. And I think that's the nature of ED nursing. You don't have time to prepare yourself, and I'm not a morning person and all those things. Like we can't be that. Our patients need us to be ready when we get there. So I find that exercise helps me get there. Emotionally, you can impulse shop. That's a side effect of working nights, because you might be watching TV at 3 a.m. and an infomercial comes on and suddenly you feel like you need the vacuum or you need the cleaning product. So
it'll make you feel better.
And you need that pair of shoes because it makes you feel better. So you've got to watch that. I guess as well, a side effect is you miss out on vitamin D. So, and you have to, which we know we need for bone and healthy bone and muscle development. I was doing some reading recently. We just released a post on our site about vitamin D, so I feel like it's fresh in my mind. We need like between 10 and 30 minutes a day of vitamin D, which the scientists recommend we get in the morning, which for us, we don't want light in the morning because it's telling our melatonin, our sleep hormone, that we actually want to be awake and please don't go to sleep yet. So it sort of totally works against what we're actually trying to do. So for me to get that vitamin D is in the afternoon. So I try to wake up. Well, I generally wake up between sort of 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. This is starting at 7, working a 10-hour shift. I try to put on my active wear that I see at my door and literally go for a walk straight away. So I might meet a friend in the park, so they're relying on me to get up. So I have to go. Or we try to have dinner outside. So I know, it might not be a full half an hour maybe that we're out there, but it's something. So I feel like with the combo of walking, we don't have a dog, but for those who have a dog, take them for a walk. They need you. So that's sort of a little bit of a motivation as well. And to have dinner outside. And obviously on your days off, we can't accumulate vitamin D, which is very unfortunate for us. But I think if we really think about it when we're on nights, I think it really helps readjust our body clock, and it keeps our emotions in check as well, makes us feel a little bit more human.
It sounds like you have to create all of these mechanisms for success, like, putting your active wear in sight when you wake up, and, making plans to meet someone in the park. It's like you have to create and set up ahead of time these, steps that will ensure that you get the sleep you need to get the sunlight you need and to get the exercise. I think you constantly have to know that these things are going to happen. And sort of be a little bit organized with yourself, and it helps your body, it helps your mind. But I think you do need to be organized. All right, so tell me, how does the mix of cases overnight differ from the types of cases you typically see during a normal day shift?
It's funny, before I started ED, I thought there would be a big difference. I thought you get a lot of car accidents happening at night. I thought you got a lot of sort of the drug party, atmosphere that probably people automatically go to when they think about emergency night shift. But it's funny, you do get probably a little bit more party drugs and people falling at parties and things on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. But for us, the busiest night, I think statistically, is a Monday night.
Really?
And I think it's because, my personal opinion, of course, is I think that people are doing fun things on the weekend and they don't want their fun thing to be ruined by an emergency admission. So they wait till Monday. They take a sick day on Monday and then they come and see us at about 2 o'clock from about 2 o'clock, I think people have had a sleep in, and then they realize I actually need to come into hospital. So and that's the busiest time from a medical admission. We get a lot then. Right. I think from a nursing perspective, for the nurses obviously watching, we get a lot of APO that comes in. So fluid on the lungs, people who can't breathe, particularly the older people who go to bed, they lay flat, all the fluid accumulates in their lungs, they can't breathe. So that happens at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
So we get a lot of sick older people about that time. Sports injuries on a Saturday morning, don't really get that at night. But, you know, car accidents happen at any time. We've got a helipad at our hospital, so that's open 24 hours, and we get a lot of helicopters, sort of, I don't know, sometimes up to 15 helicopters a day sometimes. So, yeah, it's busy.
So it seems to be you're not quite getting diurnal variations, but more just like, you know, days of the week variations.
More days of the week. I wouldn't say, probably just the party probably happens at night, but you do get the very excited person who wants to take something illicit at 10 a.m. and
whoopsie. I love it that people are waiting though. They don't want to ruin their weekends. They're going to, you know, wait until Monday to get that broken ankle taken care of because they were too busy having fun. Or they didn't feel it because they were so smacked up on something.
I burnt myself on Saturday. It's like,
right.
It's Tuesday. I used to think there was a big difference, but I don't. It's a busy department and it never really slows down, to be honest. So we may get a little bit of grace at night between sort of maybe 4 o'clock-ish, and then it really starts to rev up again at about 5:30 because people go to work.
Okay, so when a nurse finally gets home from a night shift, the household is typically waking up, which means that things get busy and noisy. So how can nurses get good quality sleep during the day?
I love this question. We talk about this a lot on our website. So I think, again, this is the bit we sort of spoke about before, is we have to prepare our bedroom for sleep. I think you can't sort of be naive and think, I'm just going to close the blinds and go to sleep and expect it to just happen, because for some people it does, and good on you. But for a lot of people that, you know, we talk to at our website and who I talk to at home, it's not that easy. So some simple things that I think you can do is you can get some really cheap blockout blinds. So I sort of think about, you want to create your bedroom like a cave. A cold cave is what you're going for. So people use blackout blinds, or I've seen people even just get foil just as a temporary measure. Foil in your bedroom, get some masking tape or some hospital tape, like whatever you've got, stick it on your window, and then you've already got sort of darkness. If you find that there's little bits leaking in, you want to use, what have I got around here? An eye mask. So this is the big one I use. So this is silk and it's big. I like that it's big. It takes up half my face. So some people use these little tiny ones and they still get it light. It's no good. This is the big one that I use. So they cost like $2, $3. This one's a little bit more expensive because it's silk, because it feels nice on my face. I use that. Another thing that I'd recommend is earplugs, super cheap. Making sure you don't get too hot in your room. I think we get all excited. We think we're going to reward ourselves. We're going to put the hot blanket on, or don't do that. If your body naturally wants to cool when it sleeps, so make it easy for your body. It's already stressed because it's working backwards. So don't wear too heavy pajamas. There's fancy mattresses these days that have got cooling pads on them. If you find you're getting too hot, maybe invest in one of those. You could get a pedestal fan. I use the fan as a sort of white noise, and I face it away from me. Sometimes I don't like the breeze on my face, but I face it away, and it's the noise, but it's just, I don't know, it's a nice distraction. It keeps you a bit cooler.
Yeah, you can also aim
My,
the fan at the wall so that the air hits the wall, and actually, if you get the angle right, it then goes onto you. But it's so much like it's not quite as violent as if having a fan directly on your face.
yeah, absolutely.
I sleep better with a fan on, but if the fan directly on me is too much, so I aim it at the wall, and then I get a very soft breeze on my face at night, and then also the white noise. It also lulls me to sleep.
Yeah, I use a little heat pack. So between when I'm on night, so a heat pack with the fan, nice breeze, and a silk eye mask, I am out.
It's like a formula.
Yeah. Oh, it's a formula. Oh yeah, it's a formula. I've got a little I've never been a diffuser user, sort of aromatherapy stuff, but I've recently bought one, and that's really nice. I don't usually have it on when I sleep, but as I'm preparing for sleep, it's nice sort of come into your room.
Yeah, you
probably just my last thing that I will tell your housemates you're on night shift is one big thing. So they give them the opportunity to do something else. Don't get mad at them when you're laying there and they're making so much noise. It's like, well, they didn't know.
Yeah.
So it's harsh. But probably just from an aid perspective is we wear blue light blocking glasses, which these, they're like orange tinted glasses. So the point of these, I know they look ridiculous, but the point of them is most people want to wind down using their phones, or there's some sort of screen, use the TV, light, phone. So this blocks out the light that's coming from those devices, so it lets your melatonin do its job. So when you turn the light off and hopefully your room's dark, you take the glasses off and your body should already be in the wind down stage. But if you don't have these, it sort of can take another half an hour for your melatonin to be like, oh, okay, she wants to go to sleep now. Now I'm going to start winding down. So, and it stops eye strain. So we are huge advocates of these. Every night my husband's like, do you want your glasses every night? Like about an hour before we go to sleep, even on a day shift. And I'm in love with them. Couldn't recommend them higher. So.
And you put them on when you're looking at your phone or watching TV, right? Just before bed.
Yeah.
Okay.
About 90 minutes is what they recommend before.
Crazy.
So we use these. Swanwick Sleep is the brand that we use. I've tried heaps. I just find the hinges on these are sturdy, and they just do a damn good job, if you ask me.
Wow.
So,
Okay. So next question. When I'm tired, I get grumpy and emotional and just generally unmanageable, as like you mentioned earlier, which is perfectly human of us. So what's the key to keeping a calm head when you're one, in a high pressure environment like a hospital, and two, tired because it's 3 a.m.?
For me, I think the biggest thing is not getting dehydrated, which is super easy to do at night because there's no change in temperature, so you're not tempted to drink. And I think the feel like you need to drink or you're thirsty is decreased. So I keep my drink bottle near me, and I really try it. Like I'm drinking 2 of these in a night shift is sort of what I aim for. 2.5 even sometimes. If I don't drink, I get a headache and I get angry and I make bad decisions. So that's probably my big thing. The other thing from a nursing perspective that I think it's important I talk about is to take your breaks. I've worked many shifts that I haven't taken a break because the place is on fire. And you think if you go on a break, it's, you're leaving your colleagues and, all the reasons why nurses don't take breaks. But honestly, you're doing yourself absolutely no favors. And that calm head that you want to keep and the good decisions, and you don't want to make medication errors and all those things, take 5 minutes, go to the toilet, have a mouthful of nuts or yogurt or something sort of high protein, have a drink, take 3 minutes to yourself. And, even if you can't take the full half an hour, like I totally get that, but having a break really helps me stay calm. And the other thing probably that I do is to have a good meal before I leave for a shift. So it prepares me for the whole night shift. So you hear this when I first started nights, people talk about eating a second dinner at 3 a.m. It's like, okay. And it sounded fun when you're doing nights. Oh, cool. I get 2 dinners. Great. But since I've been doing more research, it's sort of, that's not what our body wants. Our digestive system slows when we are sleeping. That's naturally, unfortunately haven't evolved into these night shift, these unicorns.
Subset of humankind.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that hasn't quite happened. So we need to listen to our body, and our digestive system slows at night time. So just small, sustainable protein meals is what keeps me going. If I have this big meal at 3 o'clock, it's the bloating starts. You feel fatigued, can't make good decisions. I can't have that.
Yeah. So you mentioned high protein, nuts, yogurt as a snack. Are there any other great snacks aside from anything caffeine and sugar laced that you like?
Yeah. I really like cutting little bits, sort of this big, I think, of veggies. So I have some celery, carrot, and I dip it into some hummus dip. I find that that's really good. Too much hummus though can cause bloating, so just go easy on how much you're having. Things that are easily digestible is good for your gut. So smoothies, soups, broths, these sort of stuff's good.
Yeah.
And then I make my own little protein balls. So with some dates and oats and almonds, and put that in a blender, and that's generally all I need, with a lot of water.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
All right. So we touched on this earlier, but how do you manage to have friends when your day is turned upside down?
I think this probably changes, depends if you're on a permanent roster or like a permanent nights, or you're on a rotating roster like me. As a rotating roster, I might only work sort of 4 night shifts in a row. So I tell my friends that I'm going on nights, and sometimes I just commit to myself that I'm not really going to talk to anyone for 4 days, but I have planned something for the day that I finish to get me out of bed, because you don't want to sleep too long on that last night shift. So, you might plan coffee in the afternoon or a dinner for that night. So there's light at the end of the tunnel, but there's no pressure on you to have to catch up with your friends during nights, because that can be so stressful. But you're catching up with them. So that's good. For the people that you haven't got that dinner planned, there's a little Thai place across the road from work that we catch up with some colleagues sometimes before the shift. That's so nice. Like, you wake up at 5 o'clock, maybe go for a walk, get ready for work, and you meet them, 6 o'clock. That's so nice. The other thing is, I used to live an hour away from work. So I often just called someone on the way home and on the way like to and from work.
Okay.
Call someone hands-free in the car, and I just felt that was a nice way to sort of keep in contact.
Yeah.
But don't stress yourself out too much, probably, is my advice here. Just do what you can. You can't catch up with everyone. It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
Catch up with them when you finish nights.
Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay. So now you can tell me how your website, The Other Shift, assists nurses who have to work awkward hours.
Well, it's funny. We started this website because there's so many things that are assumed when you start a shift work job. You're meant to know how to sleep during the day. You're meant to know what to eat, when you're meant to exercise, and you just don't. You don't get told any of this stuff, and it's just assumed. And I'm a nurse educator in ED, and you hear a lot of new grads and new staff like, what is shift work? My God, like, I'm so tired. I can't manage this. And so that's sort of why we started the site. So we don't just help nurses. It's a shift work based website. So anyone who works unusual hours is who we're sort of trying to help out. When you go on the site, hopefully if people go and have a look, that's why there's pictures of not just nurses on there. Like, we just sort of try to get a range of people.
Yeah.
So we help you with, how to sleep during the day. We want you to get 7 to 9 hours sleep, even if it's not consistently, but on average, it's what we want, because we found that if you don't get enough sleep, it impacts everything. Yeah. You can gain weight, you can get angry, you don't exercise. So that's sort of one of our main pushes. And then we also want to help you with what to eat overnight, and even when you're on a day shift, how to keep socially connected with people, how to not buy lots of shoes at night shift, impulse buying, social contacts. So I'm sort of forever trying to improve my own learning in this space too. And, I read lots of books, and I sort of talk to lots of people at work, and I really try to keep up to date with what's happening in the wider shift work world. We've got a flight attendant friend who lives in America, and I often pick her brain about what's happening in a different, field. I know healthcare, but I don't know other people. So we try to get, advice and just hear different troubles that are happening, in factories. We've got a friend who works for Amazon, so we're talking to them, and, it's just try to stay well-rounded.
Yeah. It's crazy to me that nursing school doesn't touch on that. Well, maybe not nursing school, but, if you're going to, if you're working for a hospital and you're on the night shift roster, that there isn't some kind of PDF they give you, or like to give you just like, this is what you're going to go through. Your body's going to suffer. And this is how you can cope and be more effective in the workplace. Because ultimately, as you said, being tired and not eating the right foods, or not getting enough exercise, or just being grumpy affects your ability to be an effective nurse. So it's
I think things are getting better from where I can only probably talk for our hospital, but we're having a big wellness push at the minute, and I don't know, like obviously COVID's impacting that, but I think it's for the better. People are now really talking about we need social interaction and we need to stay healthy, and I think it's helping me spread my shift work message, but I think it's good.
All right, well, let's end on this note. What is the best thing about working the night shift?
For me, it's got absolutely nothing related to nursing, but the thing that I love about it is there's no traffic. You waste so much of your time sitting in traffic and trying to find a car park. And I work in a big city hospital, and getting to work, honestly, I live 5 k's from the city, and sometimes it can take you 40 minutes to get there. So that for me, being able to park wherever I want and getting to work in 10 minutes, that honestly is my best part.
And then drive home with no traffic must be so nice. Awesome.
But I know people talk about the pay and, shopping without anyone there, and there's a different atmosphere on nights. There's lots of positive things.
Well, that's great. Well, Emma, thank you so much for talking to me today. This has been so enlightening. And I actually feel like some of what you said can be applicable to those working from home without any kind of schedule in place, like this girl here. But so thanks for your great advice. Really appreciate it.
No worries. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Working as a nurse isn't all peaches and cream, but that doesn't mean the night shift can't be a sweet deal for you. So with Emma's advice, I hope you find those long, awkward hours a lot more manageable and even enjoyable. Also, be sure to check out her website, theothershift.com, where you'll find even more advice on staying awake, productive, and healthy as someone who gets up for work when the sun goes down. If you are studying to become a registered nurse or nurse practitioner, make sure you get Brainscape's NCLEX or nursing flashcards, which will help you study so much more efficiently and keep up that healthy cadence of daily review that is so essential for doing well in these content-heavy subjects. For even more guidance, check out the other videos we have on Brainscape's nursing channel and go to the Academy for A to Z study guides on how to excel in nursing school and beyond. These tools, together with your ambition and hard work, is everything you need to rise to your challenge.